All right, so I'm here at the Grassy Knoll in the mall, and I'm talking to Chauncey. And the backstory is Chauncey reached out to me, like 2-3 months ago now?
Ish, yeah, I'd say probably about 2 months ago.
Yeah, and she said, hey, am I being paid what I'm worth here? And I looked in my data and I said no. And at that point I figured, okay, Chauncey is going to be leaving the Grassy Knoll and looking for a job somewhere else. And something really cool happened, and we'll let Chauncey tell us about it. So what happened?
So what I did is I compiled a letter together explaining why I would need a raise at that point,
Yeah.
breaking it down bit by bit, what I'd be using that extra money towards in my daily life. And it took them about a week to sit on it and think about it, but in the end they gave me that $7 raise.
$7.
Yeah.
You got a $7 an hour raise?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like a whole nother person's minimum wage salary on top of yours. That's,
Right. That paid off my car.
Yeah. Nice. So were you surprised when you went to the ownership and said, hey, I need more money? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, for one, it's like really scary to approach somebody like that for just a normal raise. When you think of raises, people get 50 cents and they think that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Me, I was asking for $7. So, like, either they're going to be like, that's really upsetting, or they're going to be like, she's probably right. How can we help her out? And to my surprise, truly, they were like, how can we help you more? So they definitely gave me that $7 raise, and anything that I've needed aside from that, like, they've been there for me to help me with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason that I wanted to come talk to you about it, because it was so surprising.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a great example of best practices and owners standing behind their employees.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a bit earlier, where it didn't seem that the owners were trying to screw you over or lowball you.
No.
They started a business and they just set a salary, and they just didn't know that wasn't appropriate for your position.
That's really what it was. They had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's, yeah, and that, there's going to be people that see this and go, oh, you should know everything, and you're probably not an entrepreneur. You don't understand, like, sometimes stuff gets missed, and the way that you handled it. So you just sat down and wrote out why I'm worth the raise.
Yes.
And just submit it to them, and
Yep.
yeah.
Went from there.
Yeah.
And I figured it was easier to do it that way too, because I did have so much to explain as to why I felt that I needed that raise.
Yeah.
So that way they can sleep on it, have the reference to look back onto, and really take their time and really reread that to be like, wow, that really makes a whole lot of sense, and what can we do from here?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they can go, from an emotional point of view, it's like, Chauncey's cool, we like Chauncey,
Yeah.
but all feelings aside, like, let's look at this in black and white.
Right.
Which is sometimes, more often than not, how decisions are made.
Yeah.
And having that reference was very savvy. So
Thank you.
that's that's great, because most people wouldn't do it. Most people
Right.
would just very passionately state their case, and they may very, very well be right, but it may not have the effect that they're looking for.
Right. That way I could take my time too. Like I said, it took me a couple weeks to really
Yeah.
put it all together, and I myself had to sleep on it a few times. Do I really want to ask for that much? Are they going to be offended? Do they think I'm just trying to get money off of them? Like, that was one of my biggest concerns. I didn't want them to feel that way, which is why I really took my time to explain this is why I need that amount.
Yeah. Well played.
Now I can
Yeah.
afford my own house if I wanted to, so afford rent on my own if it came down to that. So
Yeah.
you're definitely setting me up for the future, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and what does that tell you about the company that you work for? Like, how do you feel about them now?
I've always thought that they were great people.
Yeah.
Janet and Fred really do take care of their own, but it's just been proved even more now with that.
Yeah.
And just how quickly I've moved up the ladder. They really instill a lot of trust into their employees.
Yeah.
They're really trustworthy, and they really try to take care of people as best as they can, any way that they can.
Yeah, I mean, that shows. And I was surprised at how this turned out. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And because typically it goes, someone wants that quarter or 50 cents, and the boss goes, no way.
Right.
And the employee goes, okay, bye.
Right.
And that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that it just sets a positive example. The Grassy Knoll being the first CBD shop in Grand Rapids, and setting the tone for, it's a trickle-down effect of positivity. The owners treat you well, and then you're happy and excited to be here, and you know that they're taking care of you and they're doing right by you, and then that positivity spreads to the people that are coming in here and dealing with a shop, which drives more revenue, which helps create opportunities for more employees and advancement for you.
Yep.
I mean, it's a great little ecosystem of positivity.
Yes, it is.
Wow, yeah. So what did you do before you got into CBD and working at this great company?
The job directly before here, I worked at a corporate banking center, taking all inbound phone call complaints, doing online bank account maintenance, and then before that, I had about 3.5 years of healthcare under my belt, working in various hospitals and long-term care facilities, subacute units.
I know exactly what that means.
Yes. Long-term care. And then like hip replacements.
Oh.
Subacute is like short-term rehab stay.
Okay.
And then I've worked at Mary Free Bed.
Okay.
I worked there, spinal cord injury and med complex. And then in Chicago, I worked on an observation unit, which is basically a sister unit for the ER.
Okay. 24
hours or less.
Yeah. So what made you? Those are kind of different lanes. What made you jump into CBD and doing what you do now?
Being in healthcare, I really loved it. I got to give back to the community, but I really get attached to people. So when people would pass or like an emergency happened, it was really stressful. My blood pressure got really high and out of control, so I needed a career change. And something that would match my pay at a decent rate was really hard to find, which is why I settled for the corporate banking center. And then that just wasn't any less stressful at all, believe it or not.
Yeah, getting screamed at.
Getting screamed at for 8 hours a day was not fun, and I was taking it home with me and just not being a very pleasant person at all.
Yeah.
So really knew that I had to make some changes there, and especially for my health, it was really detrimental for my health.
Yeah.
My blood pressure was like dangerously high, and it was all stress related. So once I made that change, I was like, I need to quit the bank, and I put in my app here, and within a couple of days they called me. I had the interview, boom, it was done.
How about that blood pressure? Where's it at now?
Perfect. It really is. Like, my blood pressure dropped like 30 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. A lot of that contributes to the CBD because it can help regulate heart health.
Yeah.
But then being in a less stressful environment where I actually love coming to work every day, it doesn't even feel like I'm doing a job at all. Honestly, like, I just hang out with people and meet a lot of really great people, and our team is great too. So just surrounded with positive energy all the time.
You've been here almost a year now, yeah?
6 months.
You've been here 6 months?
Yeah, since April.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I got hired April 8th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a good job of like chronicling the whole process on social media. I was like, okay, I know what's going on with Chauncey.
Yeah.
Yep. So, awesome. Well, thanks for the interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The fact that they behave the way they did with you is really encouraging, because a lot of people are concerned about getting into the industry because they don't know how they're going to be treated.
It's scary.
It is scary.
It's scary. Like,
yeah.
And it's just such a new industry. Like, it's up in the air. There's so many gray areas, and that's what.
It's good, and this sets an example for all the other businesses. But also, it's something where if you're out there and you work at a company that doesn't treat you right, well, Grassy Knoll is where you want to work.
Definitely.
And that's huge too.
Yeah, and we are trying to expand too, so within the next couple of years, for sure.
Cool.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah. Thanks, Chauncey.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, officially, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just visited Chauncey, and she got a job at Grassy Knoll, which we just visited. And I like Chauncey. She's super involved in the industry. She's super cool, and she had chronicled her getting a job on social media. So it was pretty easy to follow her story. And see how she was excited to get into the cannabis industry, and then her process of coming on board. And the way things sort of worked out is a couple years ago. The way things sort of worked out is a couple months ago, Chauncey hit me up, and she said on Facebook Messenger, she said, "Hey Matt, I don't think I'm being paid what I'm worth. And I said, okay, well, how much are you getting paid? And she told me, and I went in my archive because I know all the wages of 137 cannabis specific positions in the cannabis industry. You know, we've been working on Handgrown.jobs for almost 2 years now, and it's all heavily research based. So what we did is we sampled every equivalent job across all industries in the United States, and we came up with salary recommendations. In some cases they may be exactly right, some cases they may not be, but we thought that we would develop that tool for employers that didn't know some of the recommended wages for potential employees. So we just had that resource available, and Chauncey was the first person that reached out as an employee and asked if I could tell her she was being paid, you know, at least the industry standard, and she wasn't. And I thought to myself, okay, Chauncey, here you go. And I gave her all my citations, and I thought, okay, she's probably going to be on the job market. You know, typically when people ask for raises, as you guys can imagine, it goes one of two ways. Either, yes, here's your 50 cents, and cool. Or it goes, no, we're not giving you a raise, which typically means like, hey, I'm looking for another job, I'm done here, and a person leaves that company. Chauncey's case at the Grassy Knoll was a surprise, and one that I'm so happy to be surprised by, and that it was a positive surprise. So she took the information that I provided to her, and she wrote a proposal, which I highly recommend you do. If you are asking for a job, write out, and I'll make a video on this, but write out in sheet form the role that you do, and justify why you'd like a raise without any emotion. I do this, I do this, I do this, I go above and beyond on that, I'm here for the team about this, and put it on paper, and then submit it to your boss. Sleep on it, take a couple weeks on it, have your friends and family and peers look it over, and then give it to your boss, and say, hey, on your own time, I would like to talk to you about a raise or a promotion or whatever it is that you want, and let them get back with you on that. So Chauncey did that. I didn't tell her to do it. I would have told her to do it, but she did it on her own, which is freaking great job, Chauncey. And the owners looked it over, and they said, hey, you know what, Chauncey, you're right, and we believe in you, and we believe in a positive company culture, and we value you as an employee, and this is something that we overlooked, and we agree. And so they gave her a $7 an hour raise. 7. That's huge. And so when Chauncey hit me back and said, hey, I think it was like between an $8,000 and $10,000 a year raise, I fell off my chair. I just went, what? That's so great. It's so great. And so I made this video with her, and I wanted to share it with you guys because there's so much concern and trepidation about getting in the industry. Am I going to be working at a good company? Am I going to be paid a living wage? Am I going to be treated well? And the answer is yes and no. And I wanted to highlight one of the times where the answer is yes, you're going to be paid a living wage. Yes, you're going to be treated well. Yes, you're going to love what you do. Yes, you're going to enjoy your team members. And it's just really exciting to see the positive side of things. And for the people out there that are working at a company that doesn't value you, that you're not excited about, just know that there are companies out there that do. And there's quite a few of them in West Michigan. And if you're not happy, then take your experience and bounce. Because there are companies out there that would value you, that would love to have you as a team member, especially the people that have the experience. So I'm really excited to share this story. And I'm happy and excited to see Chauncey in her role and really flourishing and having a positive impact on people. And I just think it's neat because I think it's neat because it's what the industry ought to be. It's what I work and our teams and other leadership teams. It's what we work for. the cannabis industry doesn't have to be like every other industry. It's a blank slate, so it can be a place where people are empowered and enriched and have a meaningful impact on not only their life and their family life, but on their communities and on the people that they serve. It's just a total blank slate, and I cannot sing the praises of Grassy Knoll enough, because if I knew nothing else about these people, which I don't, I like them, I support them, and I will sing their praises till kingdom come, because of the way that they treated her, and the way that they treated her is the way that they'll treat everybody in the company. And I really commend Chauncey for having the guts to ask. You don't ask and you will receive. Then you know. And she had the courage to ask, and that sets an example for other employees to say, hey, you know what, I don't think I'm being paid what I'm worth. And what I really like about what Chauncey did is the maturity in the way that she handled and conducted herself. I mean, there's no immaturity about her whatsoever. She's very professional and personable, but she didn't say, I want $90,000 a year, and I've never worked in the industry before. She did her research. She thought about what she was asking. She justified her ask, and then she entered the negotiations in earnest and set herself and everyone else in the company up for success to get to what everybody wanted, and that's for them to have Chauncey be happy and for Chauncey to be happy. And I think that it's really important for the employers to be open to things like that, and I think that it's also important for the employees to not ask for the moon either. So come into these ventures with open arms and open eyes, and really, when you're looking at a company, ask questions about their culture and look at their social media, look at how they're engaged with their communities, talk to other people that have worked at those companies, or maybe know something about those companies, and figure out how they treat their employees, because your workplace happiness is everything. So I'm going to stop here because I could just rant about this all day. It's just so cool, and but I'm going to leave it there. So if you guys want some great CBD products like this, I tried this, I'm going to try this, then head to the Grassy Knoll in the Woodland Mall here in Grand Rapids. It's right by the Barnes & Noble bookstore, before the Dairy Queen. If you get to the Dairy Queen, you went too far. Oh, that's good. No kidding. Don't buy your CBD from Family Video or the gas station. Come here to where you know what you're getting is reputable and independently tested. Support local businesses, even though they're here in the mall, they're a local business. And say hi to Chauncey. Talk to her about her experience and CBD. I know they love to talk to you. So yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. And thanks for watching. I hope this helps you. I hope this inspires you. And I look forward to seeing you in the cannabis field. Bye-bye.